Empowering society, PROUT and Renaissance for holistic growth and prosperity. In a world marked by rapid technological progress and persistent social inequalities, the real spirit of social progress is to dispel all social disparities. Each and every member of the human society should enjoy equal rights as members of the same family, but there is disparity, and it is the duty of the Renaissance movement to dispel the disparity and bring about equality, equilibrium, and equipoise amongst human beings. Women must not be suppressed, and there should not be domination of males in the society. Society should have a cooperative leadership, not a subordinated leadership. There should be a coordinated, cooperative leadership between males and females. Renaissance people will have to start a movement immediately to fight against all these disparities. Otherwise, if 50% of the population, that is the ladies, remain downtrodden, how can there be all-round progress of human society? So these are all the social duties, the social responsibilities of the Renaissance movement. Renaissance people will have to wage war on these disparities, these inequalities. They will have to be rooted out of the society. There is political inequality. Still there is a sort of economic polarization, economic exploitation, and not only that, there are social and cultural disparities, and social and cultural exploitation also. Renaissance people will have to bring this fact to the notice of one and all. This disparity cannot be supported by good thinking, by right-thinking people, and so we will not support it. Yes, in the political sphere, there should be the rule of moralist people, for a moralist people cannot lead the society, they cannot goad the people onto the path of righteousness. And this political life should also be based on universalism, without forgetting the fact that a particular area of the world has its own particular problems and its own particular conditions. Economic life. In economic life there is extreme inequality and exploitation. Why do people still believe in such a theory, which has never been proved successful? The time has come for people to make a proper assessment whether they are being misguided or not. Then comes one of the important points, cultural life. What is culture? Culture is the collection of different expressions of human life. The culture of the entire human race is one, but there are different local expressions. This difference in local expressions does not mean that people of different corners of the earth have different cultures. Culture is the same, but the expressions vary. Education is a part of cultural life. Education should be free, and education must be based on universalism. While imparting education, you should also remember that there are certain local conditions, local problems, and local requirements. So while formulating the educational structure, we should do everything remembering this fundamental fact. The need for an integrated approach to development has never been more pressing. The progressive utilization theory, PROUT, proposed by Indian philosopher Prabhat Ranjan Sarkar, offers a visionary framework for achieving sustainable growth and equity through the convergence of economic, social, spiritual, and moral dimensions. We shall explore how the principles of PROUT can be applied to guide today's society towards holistic growth and prosperity. Economic reforms, building a people-centered economy. At the heart of PROUT's economic model is the idea of economic democracy, economic decentralization. In economic democracy, economic and political power are bifurcated. That is, PROUT advocates political centralization and economic decentralization. Political power is vested with the moralists, but economic power is vested with the local people. The principal goal of the administration is to remove all the impediments and obstacles which prevent the economic needs of the people being met. The universal aim of economic democracy is to guarantee the minimum requirements of life to all members of society, which prioritizes local control over resources and the means of production through cooperative enterprises. Social reforms, fostering equality and universalism, education and healthcare for all. Ensuring access to quality education and healthcare is fundamental to achieving social equity. Requirements for economic democracy. The first requirement for economic democracy is that the minimum requirements of a particular age, including food, clothing, housing, education, and medical treatment, must be guaranteed to all. Not only is this an individual right, it is also a collective necessity, because the easy availability of the minimum requirements will increase the all-round welfare of society. The second requirement for economic democracy is that increasing purchasing capacity must be guaranteed to each and every individual. In economic democracy, local people will hold economic power. Consequently, local raw materials will be used to promote the economic prosperity of the local people. That is to say, the raw materials of one socio-economic unit should not be exported to another unit. Instead, industrial centers should be built up wherever raw materials are available. This will create industries based on locally available raw materials and ensure full employment for all local people. The third requirement for economic democracy is that the power to make all economic decisions must be placed in the hands of the local people. Economic liberation is the birthright of every individual. To achieve it, economic power must be vested in the local people. In economic democracy, the local people will have the power to make all economic decisions, to produce commodities on the basis of collective necessity, and to distribute all agricultural and industrial commodities. The fourth requirement for economic democracy is that outsiders must be strictly prevented from interfering in the local economy. The outflow of local capital must be stopped by strictly preventing outsiders or a floating population from participating in any type of economic activity in the local area. For the success of economic democracy, PROUT must be implemented and the economic welfare of all people must be enhanced step by step. This in turn will lead to greater opportunities for the spiritual emancipation of human beings. Finally, it should be remembered that economic democracy is essential not only for the economic liberation of human beings, but for the universal well-being of all, including plants and animals. Economic democracy will devise ways and means to effect the smooth progress of society by recognizing the unique value of both humans and non-humans alike. Social equality is a cornerstone of PROUT, which sees true progress as inherently linked to the reduction of social and economic disparities. Cultural pluralism and universalism. PROUT's principle of universalism rejects all forms of parochialism and promotes a worldview that embraces diversity while recognizing the underlying unity of humanity. Cultural life. What is culture? Culture is the collection of different expressions of human life. The culture of the entire human race is one, but there are different local expressions. This difference in local expressions does not mean that people of different corners of the earth have different cultures. Culture is the same, but the expressions vary. Spiritual reforms. The role of spirituality in sustainable development. Unlike materialistic approaches that measure progress merely in economic terms, PROUT places significant emphasis on spiritual development as a fundamental aspect of human growth. Incorporating spirituality in daily activities. This can be implemented by creating spaces within educational institutions and workplaces that encourage meditation, mindfulness, and ethical discussions. These practices can help individuals develop inner peace and clarity, enhancing their decision-making skills and ethical reasoning. The path of spiritual awakening. The journey towards spiritual awakening is a multifaceted odyssey, encompassing the realms of self-discovery, mindfulness, and transcendence. Through practices such as meditation, yoga, and contemplation, individuals embark on a profound quest to uncover the eternal truths that lie dormant within their souls. As the veils of illusion are lifted and the light of consciousness shines forth, individuals awaken to the radiant splendor of their true nature, a divine essence that transcends the limitations of time and space. What is yoga in the spiritual level? It is to become one with Parama Purusha. When you become one with Parama Purusha, you are getting everything, but you are losing nothing. You are losing the name of your little I and nothing else, and in return you are getting the supreme I, the big I. This is yoga in the spiritual sphere. Some people think that yoga means a particular exercise. No. Yoga does not mean exercise. Yoga means unification. It is the supreme definition of yoga. There is common won't in each and every human mind, and that won't differentiates human being from animals, people from plants. What is that difference? That spiritual won't is called human dharma. What is dharma? Human beings want to expand, and secondly, they want to become one with the cosmic body. Thirdly, they want to do something noble, and the fourth thing is that they want peace, supreme peace, undisturbed peace. These are the four special qualifications of human beings. Collectively you may say, it is the human mode. Yoga is the path of progress, the path of development for each and every human being. Nobody can keep himself or herself away or aloof from that track of yoga. Yoga is Dharma. So in individual life we should practice yoga, and in collective life we should encourage others to practice yoga. It is the solution of all human ailments in the physical stratum, in the psychic stratum, and also in spiritual stratum. Neo-humanism. Extending humanistic values to all living beings and the environment, neo-humanism can guide policies and personal actions toward more sustainable environmental practices. For example, urban planning could incorporate green spaces not just for aesthetic purposes but also to enhance biodiversity and provide residents with spaces for reflection and recreation. Neo-humanism is a worldview characterized by love for the Supreme. In the early stages of developing one's spiritual devotion, the adoption of neo-humanistic principles, that is, abjuring all prejudices against other races, groups, religions, and less evolved creatures, will safeguard and enhance the development of that devotion. And once, in turn, a person comes to feel devotion for the Supreme, that devotion or love will ultimately overflow onto all objects created by the Supreme. One will come spontaneously to love all beings and objects as one loves the Supreme, free from any discrimination. So devotion expands one's worldview, and the more expansive the worldview, the more one finds the ecstasy and peace of devotion. Yet in the course of fighting for a neo-humanistic society, one will have to use all one's rational faculties and all the resources of information at one's command. One will have to take a courageous and also a very hard-headed approach in identifying and combating forces of selfishness and vested interest. Moral reforms, ethical leadership and governance. According to PROUT, moral leadership involves leaders who are skilled and knowledgeable, morally upright and spiritually inclined. Becoming a Sadvipra is a lifelong journey of self-discovery, personal growth, self-realization and service to humanity. By following these steps and striving to embody the qualities of a Sadvipra, one can contribute to creating a more ethical, compassionate, and just world for all. The meaning of the word Sadvipra is a person who is a moralist and a spiritualist and who fights against immorality. Shudra Revolution and Sadvipra Society. Sadvipras are staunch spiritual moralists of a special psychic buildup. A Sadvipra will not launch a movement against honest people, even if he or she does not like them. But a Sadvipra will definitely take action against dishonest people, even if he or she likes them. In such matters it will not do to indulge any kind of mental weakness. PROUT's propounder in Shudra's Revolution and Sadvipra Samaj. Ethical leadership training. Training programs should focus on ethics and public service, not just management skills. These programs could include case studies that highlight the importance of ethical considerations in decision-making processes and the long-term benefits of morally sound leadership. Those spiritual revolutionaries who work to achieve such progressive changes for human elevation on a well-thought, pre-planned basis, whether in the physical, metaphysical, or spiritual sphere, by adhering to the principles of Yama and Niyama, are Sadvipras. The principles of Yama are Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Aparigraha, and Brahmacharya. 1. Ahimsa means not causing suffering to any harmless creature through thought, word, or deed. 2. Satya denotes action of mind or use of words with the object of helping others in the real sense. It has no relative application. 3. Asteya means non-stealing, and this should not be confined to physical action but, extended, to the action of the mind as well. All actions have their origin in the mind, hence the correct sense of asteya is to give up the desire of acquiring what is not rightly one's own. 4. Aparigraha involves the non-acceptance of such amenities and comforts of life as are superfluous for the preservation of the physical existence. 5. And the spirit of Brahmacharya is to experience his presence and authority in each and every physical and psychic objectivity. This occurs when the unit mind resonates with cosmic will. The 5 rules of Niyama are Shayoka, Santose, Tapa, Svadhyaya and Aishvara Pranidhana. 1. Shayoka means purity of both physical and mental bodies. Mental purity is attained by benevolent deeds, charity, or other dutiful acts. 2. Santose means contentment. It implies accepting ungrudgingly and without a complaint the outturn of the services rendered by one's own physical or mental labor. 3. Tapa means efforts to reach the goal despite such efforts being associated with physical discomforts. 4. Svadhyaya means study of the scriptures or other books of learning and assimilating their spirit. 5. Aishvara Pranidhana, the whole universe is guided by the supreme entity, and nothing that one does or can do is without his specific command. Aishvara Pranidhana is an autosuggestion of the idea that each and every unit is an instrument in the hands of the Almighty and is a mere spark of that supreme fire. Aishvara Pranidhana also implies implicit faith in him irrespective of whether one lives in momentary happiness or sorrow, prosperity or adversity. Only those who by their nature adhere to the above 10 commands, 5 principles of Yama and 5 principles of Niyama, in their normal and spiritual conduct are Sattvipras. Such a morally and spiritually equipped Sattvipra has to perform a fundamental and vital duty to society, and that kind of leadership world is looking for. According to PROUT, the rule of Sattvipras is the ideal form of leadership. The establishment of Sattvipra leadership will require the systematic and rational application of PROUT by the collective effort of many highly intelligent people. Sattvipra rule cannot be established by blind physical force or idle intellectual extravaganza. Sattvipras will fight ceaselessly against all corruption and exploitation. They will wage a never-ending war against immorality and vociferous tendencies. The fullest possibilities for the establishment of peace and human progress lie only in the collective endeavors of the Sattvipras and establishment PROUT progressive utilization theory, propounded for the happiness and all-round welfare of all is possible only under the leadership of Sattvipras. Here's how PROUT's principles of leadership, that is Sattvipra's leadership, intersect with some of its foundational tenets. 1. From inequality to keeping the money rolling and min/max limits starting from minimum basic requirements. PROUT advocates for leadership that works towards reducing economic disparities and ensuring a rational distribution of wealth and resources. Leaders should focus on creating economic policies that prioritize the fulfillment of minimum basic requirements for all individuals while also setting limits on wealth accumulation to prevent excessive inequality. 2. From race to neo-humanistic inclusion. Leadership in PROUT emphasizes the importance of transcending narrow identities such as race and ethnicity. Instead, leaders should promote a neo-humanistic approach that recognizes the inherent worth and dignity of all human beings, irrespective of their background or identity, including plants and animals. Inclusivity and diversity are key principles that guide leadership actions towards fostering unity and cooperation among all members of society. 3. From gender hegemony to gender cooperation. PROUT envisions leadership that challenges traditional gender roles and promotes gender equality and cooperation. Leaders should work towards dismantling systems of patriarchy and sexism, and create opportunities for all genders to participate equally in decision-making processes and societal development. 4. From competition to cooperation. Leadership in PROUT advocates for a shift from a competitive to a cooperative mindset to reach the zenith of their goal. Rather than viewing others as competitors, leaders should foster collaboration and solidarity among individuals and communities. Cooperation should be promoted in all spheres of life, including economics, politics, and social interactions, to achieve collective well-being and progress. 5. From materialism to well-being and spirituality. PROUT encourages leadership that prioritizes holistic well-being over materialistic pursuits. Leaders should promote policies and initiatives that enhance the physical, mental, and spiritual welfare of individuals and communities. This involves recognizing the interconnectedness of all aspects of life and fostering a sense of inner fulfillment and contentment beyond material possessions. 6. From back to the past to innovation for all. Leadership in PROUT emphasizes the importance of innovation and progress in building a better future for all. Rather than clinging to outdated practices or ideologies, leaders should embrace innovation and creativity in addressing contemporary challenges. They should create an environment that fosters innovation and ensures that its benefits are accessible to all members of society. 7. From only humans to humans plus nature. PROUT advocates for leadership that recognizes the interconnectedness of humanity and the natural world. Leaders should prioritize environmental sustainability and promote policies that protect and preserve the natural environment. This involves fostering a sense of ecological responsibility and harmony with nature in all aspects of decision-making and societal development. Key criteria for assessing leadership in the current era include: Sadvipra always works in a team. Judging a leader involves assessing various aspects of their policies, actions, and rhetoric. Here's how one might evaluate a leader based on few key criteria. 1. Does the leader or policy reduce inequality? Evaluate the leader's initiatives and policies to determine if they effectively address economic disparities and promote a more equitable distribution of resources and opportunities within society. Look at measures such as income distribution, access to education and healthcare, social welfare programs, and taxation policies aimed at reducing inequality. 2. Creating opportunities for all to create their lives and careers. Assess whether the leader's policies and actions promote equal access to education, employment, and economic opportunities for all members of society, regardless of their background or circumstances. Look for initiatives aimed at skill development, job creation, entrepreneurship, and social mobility, particularly for marginalized or disadvantaged groups. 3. Is there a min-max limit because material resources are limited? Consider whether the leader has implemented policies or regulations that establish minimum and maximum limits on the accumulation of wealth and resources within society. Evaluate how these limits are designed to ensure a rational distribution of resources while also acknowledging the finite nature of material resources and the need for sustainable utilization, and working on that through research and developments. 4. Is inequality justified for the greater good, reducing poverty but equity is a problem? Examine whether the leader's approach to addressing inequality prioritizes the reduction of poverty and the improvement of overall well-being, even if it entails some level of inequality. Consider whether there are measures in place to mitigate the negative effects of inequality, such as social safety nets, progressive taxation, and targeted assistance programs for the most vulnerable populations. 5. Does the leader use the language of race or humanity? Evaluate the leader's rhetoric and messaging to determine whether they emphasize inclusivity, diversity, and the common humanity of all individuals, or if they resort to divisive language based on race, ethnicity, or other identity markers. Consider whether the leader's language fosters unity and cooperation among different groups within society or exacerbates tensions and divisions. By considering these criteria, one can assess a leader's effectiveness in promoting equity, opportunity, and social cohesion within their community or nation and globe. Those who support this principle may be termed PROUTists. The principles of PROUT depend upon the following fundamental factors. 1. No individual should be allowed to accumulate any physical wealth without the clear permission or approval of the collective body. 2. There should be maximum utilization and rational distribution of all mundane, supramundane, and spiritual potentialities of the universe. 3. There should be maximum utilization of physical, metaphysical, and spiritual potentialities of unit and collective bodies of human society. 4. There should be a proper adjustment amongst these physical, metaphysical, mundane, supramundane, and spiritual utilizations. 5. The method of utilization should vary in accordance with changes in time, space, and person, and the utilization should be of progressive nature. Hence, ours is a progressive utilization theory, PROUT. Pragatishila upayogatadvamadam sarvajanahatartham sarvajana sukritham prakaritam. This is the progressive utilization theory, propounded for the happiness and all-round welfare of all. June 5, 1959, Jamalpur, from The Cosmic Brotherhood by Sri Prabhat Ranjan Sarkar. In conclusion, the integration of PROUT principles and the spirit of Renaissance offers a promising path towards holistic growth and prosperity in contemporary society. By combining the values of social justice, economic equity, cultural revival, and technological advancement, we can create a more balanced and sustainable world. Embracing these ideologies fosters inclusive development, empowers individuals and communities, and cultivates a flourishing environment for future generations. As we move forward, let us continue to draw inspiration from both PROUT and the Renaissance, forging a brighter and more prosperous future for all.